Remember this game? I'm probably the best in the world at it. And to prove it, I'm gonna win the World Cup, Champions League and Premier League, all on a legendary difficulty. And I'm not just talking about winning the tournaments, I mean winning every single match, including each leg and a qualifying game. To be fair, there aren't any qualifying games for the Premier League, but winning 38 consecutive matches on legendary should still be pretty challenging. Let's go from easiest to hardest, starting with the World Cup. The opening match against Northern Ireland starts off slow, but a solid strike and some questionable goalkeeping puts me ahead. From there, I just sit back and counter as my opponent desperately pushes forward. In fact, if you're a loser like me who wants to become good at this game, my number one advice is to score early and then play on the counter. So, it's basically like real football. Despite conceding a cheap goal, I net twice more for an easy win. Against Lithuania I get physical, forcing the ball up in the air to create favorable bounces for me. Mastering different play fields is a key in this game. After taking the lead, the goals flow naturally, ending in a 4-0 rout. Spain is next, and for the first time I'm behind. As easy as it is to play from a winning position, playing when behind is just as difficult. It's important to be careful since situations like these can easily snowball into heavy losses. I let the dust settle and find an opportunity to equalize. My opponent responds recklessly and just like that I'm leading. After adding a pretty lucky third goal, the fourth one isn't far behind. It's easy to lose focus when you know you'll win, so I concede a second goal, but no problem. Then comes Luxembourg, on my most hated playfield. It's insanely unpredictable, but I've learned that attacking early often works best. I grab a fortunate lead, defend carefully and double my advantage. A mistake costs me my clean sheet, but luckily the NPC decides to AFK, gifting me another goal. This is an unfortunate bug that sometimes enables you to score for free. However, it's rare and as far as I know, there's no way to intentionally manipulate the game to cause it to happen on demand. Anyway, I ran away with the match, winning 6-1. San Marino are easy pickings. I brute force an early lead, quickly add a second, then just counter for another big win. Then again, losing to San Marino would be embarrassing. Spain again. I head in a rebound of the crossbar to go in front, then score another header by forcing the ball into the air. From there, it's all about playing smart and countering their attacks. San Marino displays similar weaknesses as before. However, even though I add a second, San Marino gives me a slight scare with their consolation goal, aided by these bottles. When activated, which you can't decide when on legendary difficulty, bottles will be thrown towards whichever player is leading. I concede again and just like that, 2-2. Thankfully I regain my lead a few seconds later, but don't feel truly safe until adding a fourth in the dying seconds. Luxembourg next. I strike early, double my lead halfway through, but then bam, a bottle hits me and they score. Moments later, they equalize. It takes a dramatic last second goal to scrape a 3-2 win. Another awful playfield follows. It massively favors defense, so getting the first goal is crucial. After some back and forth, I find the breakthrough and quickly add a second. Should be smooth sailing, right? Nope. One choke and suddenly it's 2-2. Another late goal saves me. I finish qualifying with a comfortable 3-2 win over Northern Ireland. Now onto the final tournament. First up, England, on another terrible playfield, which is punishing for attackers depending on how it tilts. Still, I take the lead. Only for England to equalize thanks to the terrain. I squeeze in a second goal, but they level it again with seconds to go. Just in time, I snatch the winner. New Zealand next. I break the deadlock, but bottles break me, and New Zealand equalize. I regain the lead, avoiding the bottles this time, but they still find another equalizer. Again, it takes a last second goal to scrape by. Way too close. Against Tunisia, on yet another cursed playfield, I wait for my chance and strike. A bad jump lets Tunisia score, but I brute force my way back in front and secure the win with a third goal. After 3 nail-biters, I rise to the occasion in the knockouts. Against Wales, I put in a flawless performance on both ends of the pitch. And if you don't like it when I glaze myself, too bad, because I also dominated the quarterfinal against Germany. The semi-final against France is trickier. I open the scoring, but my attempts to dodge bottles leave me open in the back, and France equalize. I regain control, extend my lead, and it looks like a done deal. But more bottles. I'm forced to stall out the clock as France pulls one back. But they run out of time. Brazil is my opponent in the final. Fitting, since they faced Sweden in our only real World Cup final. And fun fact, it's the most played World Cup fixture in history. I start cautiously, then strike first. A second goal follows. From there, it's all about holding my ground. Brazil pulls one back late. But it's not enough. I'm the world champion of a fictional game made for kids against bots. But hey, a win's a win. Now on to the Champions League. After a successful qualifying campaign on my first run, a mistimed jump snowballs into a heavy loss against RB Leipzig in the opening group stage game, and I'm forced to start over again. Take 2. I get an early lead against the Lincoln Red Imps and keep control of the game until eventually winning 4-0. This is especially advantageous with 2 legs, since the opponent will play aggressively from the very beginning of the second leg, which makes it easier for you to score. In other words, winning the first leg makes it easier to win the second. Despite this, I make things closer than they have to be in the rematch, only winning after a late 3-2 goal. Against Sheriff Tiraspol, the first seconds are a bit hesitant, but I still find a relatively early goal and extend my advantage from there. I open the scoring in the return leg, before conceding due to my timing being off. I give myself an easy header to restore my lead, remaining defensively solid as the goals trigger each other. Struga, who I haven't even heard of, have some things to work on defensively, and I take the lead. The bottles wreck me, but I regain consciousness in time to protect my advantage and even extend it. Then the bottles get the better of me, enabling Struga to get on the scoresheet. Thankfully, I find a third goal, and, helped by the bottles this time, a fourth. Then Struga receives assistance from the glass. But a cheeky header still enables me to win 5-2. The return leg is a straightforward 4-0 demolition. Copenhagen is my playoff opponent, and I go in front thanks to a smart header aimed at the ground to create a tricky trajectory and bounces. Yes, I am incredibly smart and not a loser for being good at this irrelevant game. Solid defending followed by good offense snowballs my lead. The return fixture is a similar story, despite the closer scoreline and Copenhagen's late consolation goal. Alright, I've qualified for the group stage again. Let's not lose the first group game this time. I force an early header and find a gap to take the lead against Bayern Munich, who only have themselves to blame for conceding their second goal. The third goal is an easy counter-attack, while the fourth comes from a lucky deflection. Solid defending, another goal, and it's a demolition. Despite scoring first against Atletico Madrid 2, the second match was much less straightforward, largely due to the tricky playfield. Not even after regaining and extending my lead am I safe, as I failed to dodge the bottles. A cheap lob restores my 2-goal cushion. My attempts to run down the clock are interrupted by another bottle interrupting me, but by the time Atletico score their third, time has already run out. Against Feyenoord on another hated playfield, I take the lead and lock down my defense. A second and third goal follows, securing an easy win. The Atletico rematch starts badly, with me falling behind. But careful play helps me level the score and then take the lead. Atletico pushes forward desperately, leaving space for my third goal. The Feyenoord rematch is even more one-sided than our first encounter, with an extra goal just for fun. Christmas spirits run high against Bayern, but instead of building a snowman, I score first. Bottles knock me out, nearly costing me a goal, but I recover, only for a mistake to undo my heroic defending. Thankfully, Bayern makes an even worse mistake immediately afterwards. More bottles, another equalizer, 2-2. I play cautiously, score the winner, and successfully run down the clock. Huge relief. Only the knockout stage remains, which Celtic have managed to reach. Impressive by their standards. Good for them, and for me, because I battered them. In both of the legs. I get an extremely lucky quarter-final draw, and that luck carries over to the match. I win a 50-50 challenge and find a fortunate deflection to lead 2-0. Sloppy defending lets Arsenal score twice, but I snap back and make it 3-2. Intense defending sees it out. The second leg is smoother. I cruise to a 3-0 lead. Bottles ruin my clean sheet, but my fourth goal prevents any sense of drama. In the semi-final, I carefully navigate the tricky playfield, eventually breaking the deadlock. Intense defending rewards me with a second goal. And eventually a third and fourth. The return leg basically plays itself, as I was quite lucky with the playfield for once, and because Milan opened themselves up defensively when trying to score. They did score once. But more importantly, I made it to the final, where Barcelona awaits. I get that crucial early lead. But Barca quickly equalize. The match intensifies as we both remain defensively rigid. Eventually, I force a second goal. After that, everything comes down to if I can defend my lead or not. I succeed and get rewarded with a fortunate third goal, securing the Champions League title. Well, the football heads Champions League, but same thing. Now the easy part is over. Time for the Premier League. Turns out winning 38 in a row is slightly harder than 17 or 21. I swept the World Cup on my first try and only failed one Champions League run. But after 18 unsuccessful Premier League attempts, I've never even reached the halfway point. Once you've liked the video and subscribed, let's dive into how run number 19 played out. I get an early lead against Wolverhampton despite the tricky playfield. Careful defending and an opportunistic counter extend my advantage, and then the bottles help me out, leading to goal number 3. Just for good measure, I throw in a 4th and 5th. Tottenham put me behind early, forcing me to chase the equalizer. I grab a second soon after and make it 3-1 with some clever bottle dodging. The bottles then betray me and gift Spurs a goal, but I shut them down with a 4th. Then finish them off 5-2 in the final second. Against Nottingham Forest, a sneaky lob and a well-timed header give me a 2-0 lead. They concede a third in embarrassing fashion. I park the bus, resisting for a while, but Forest eventually joined the scoreboard. One more lob seals a routine 4-1 win though. My desperate desire to win 38 in a row pushes me to find new, embarrassingly sweaty strategies, one of which was deployed against Arsenal. Remember how the opponent will just randomly AFK sometimes? Throughout my struggles, I've learned that instead of just scoring the free goal immediately and risk the opponent equalizing later, you can get a guaranteed win by just waiting to score when time is about to run out, without even giving your opponent a chance to respond. Only 3 matches were won using this sweaty strategy though, including this one. I don't need any cheap tricks against Brighton, who I hammer 5-0. Burnley's brilliant defending enables me to go in front, but bad timing by me levels the score. Some heroic defending prevents Burnley from taking the lead, and eventually I make it 2-1. Then quickly 3-1 and 4-1. The abbreviation of Crystal Palace accurately describes what they did as I battered them 6-1. My victory against Brentford is a similar story, despite scoring one less goal. Sheffield United were defeated with even greater ease. After that, it's time for a big derby with City, which I also easily win. Fulham are next on the chopping block. Against Luton, an early attack and well-timed header puts me in front by 2 goals, but it doesn't take long for Luton to join the scoresheet. It wouldn't be the first time I lost a game from a position like this, so I lock in and make it 3-1, and after adding a 4th, I feel safe. My 5th goal cements the deceivingly one-sided scoreline. However, in my 5-0 demolition of Everton, there wasn't a shred of drama. And if you enjoy watching me suffer, sorry, because I put 7 past Newcastle, who in fairness were comically bad defensively. My aforementioned embarrassingly sweaty strategy grants me a 1-0 win over Chelsea. No tricks are needed against Bournemouth. Then comes Liverpool, on one of my most hated playfields. After a tense start, I find the gap, 1-0. Liverpool strike back, 1-1. The chaos continues. Some wild bounces give me the edge. And I add a 4th right at the death. West Ham, early lead. The playfield blesses me with another. I defend like a maniac, then grab a 3rd. Aston Villa should have scored first, but I somehow take the lead instead. My reckless play costs me though, they equalize. It's tense. Mounting comebacks on this playfield is nearly impossible. I finally regain the lead. Make it 3-1 and breathe. A late goal from Villa makes it 3-2, but time runs out. We've just hit the halfway mark. Can I really go all the way? Nottingham Forest are challenging to break down at first, but I go in front and later add a 2nd. Despite getting hit by the bottles, I recover in time to make it 3-0. And eventually 4-0 for good measure. Against Spurs, I grab a quick 2-0 lead. They sneak in a goal, but a cheap lob calms the nerves. 4th and 5th goals follow. Wolves are light work. I concede a late goal, but who cares? Heroic efforts stop West Ham from scoring. Instead, I take the lead, but a strong header levels the score. Did that really cross the line though? I play carefully, forcing a header to restore my advantage. After making it 3-1, I breathe a sigh of relief before adding a lucky fourth goal. I also score a fifth, because why not? I take an early lead against Aston Villa, dodge the bottles, and eventually force a header to make it 2-0. Then the bottles get the better of me, and Villa score. Fortunately, Villa decide they're content with losing 2-1, so good for me, I guess. I go behind Luton early on, which puts me in a precarious situation, but a good strike makes it 1-1. Eventually, I force in a second goal and quickly add a third. Luton give me a scare with their consolation goal, but for some reason they're content with losing 3-2, so good for me, I guess. My nerves catch a break in a big win over Fulham. City rematch. Easy early goal, solid defense, then I finish them 3-0. I'm handed a free goal against Everton. I make it 2-0, then 3-0, but Everton pull one back, and another. Suddenly it's 3-2. I lock in, run down the clock, escape with a shaky 4-2 win. Just 10 games left. But one mistake and it's all over. Routine win over Sheffield United. Brentford are beaten even more emphatically. Solid defending leads me to the opening goal against Chelsea. The second isn't far behind. After defending for a while, Chelsea find a consolation goal. Did that really cross the line though? Anyways, I resist a comeback and win 3-1. Liverpool again. I go 2-0 up by halftime. Then they give up. Fine by me. 6 games to go. I brute force a lead against Bournemouth, dodge the bottles, and score again. Third goal is basically their fault. 4-0 win. Newcastle next. I get the lead, try to protect it. Mess up a clearance, eat a deflection, 1-1. I clutch a second and run down the clock. 2-1 win. I survive and advance. My patented, embarrassingly sweaty strategy lets me beat Burnley by a single goal. Crystal Palace rematch. Super tense. Neither team budges. After 28 painful seconds, I finally score. Then a second. But the bottles betray me. Crystal Palace score and my win streak is hanging by a thread. I dig deep, score a third, and keep the dream alive. Against Arsenal in my penultimate match, I soar to an unexpectedly easy 5-0 demolition. But if I can't beat Brighton again in the final game, it will all have been for nothing. I don't leave anything to chance as I grab a clinical lead. Razor sharp defending follows. Which eventually rewards me with a second goal. In the end, I win 3-0. finally succeeding in my inspirational mission to win 38 Football Heads matches in a row against bots. I really wish I could prove myself against human players too. If someone made online multiplayer for Football Heads, I would be so happy. But Seb, what about Head Soccer? Not the same thing! That game is just pay to win nonsense. The only decent thing about it is the built-in anti-parking the bus feature that freezes you if you camp your own goal line. What I need is a pure online multiplayer version of Football Heads. No items, no power-ups, ranked ladder, ability to organize tournaments between players, possibly the option to play best of 3, 5 or more, but not too many different game modes since it risks splitting the player base. Even if you hate me, you should want this so other players can expose me as a fraud. To be fair, Football Heads does technically have multiplayer, but only if you're willing to sit right next to your opponent, both using the same keyboard. That's not exactly the kind of multiplayer I'm looking for. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go outside, touch grass, and speak with another human being for the first time in months. But you should stay inside and watch this video.